Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Fermi Paradox. When last we left off, we were really protective of our polar monkey Regencies over here and sent the human craft swarm fleeing. But I'm pretty sure, it won't let me zoom, I've got this big thing in the way, but I'm pretty sure that means that we were going to have some real trouble here since the fish people were defeated by the Damani over here. So we'll see what happens long term. Go ahead and hit that. Important human craft swarm AI programmer dies. How are the Odo Governments? They are now in the cyber age. So many of them are getting so high up on this scale. And we're just going to kind of hit equilibrium, I think. Try and keep a bunch of them toward the top, as it were. That being said, crossing the realm of AI, Odo now have the ability to vastly improve their societies and facilitate communication with faraway beings. However, new technologies present great risks as well, so a little extra wisdom couldn't hurt. That is true. However, I like synthesis, so I think I'm going to go for the dystopia and potential casualties raising. The Odo prioritize military power, creating new tools for defense and combat on Tau Ceti 3 or elsewhere in space. The fear of yet unknown alien enemies inspires dreams of interstellar conquest. Let's do that one. That sounds cool. So the resource scarcity is still very, very low. Actually, what am I doing? I should have totally gone for resources. I did not even pay attention here. This is what happens when you record things on different days. Because last time we were here, I remember now that I've done it. I said when they hit the next age, I was going to focus on getting them their resources back. Well, it's okay. Settler factions. How are the fish doing? They've reached the solar ages. So that means they're going out into their own solar system. Look at them. Look at how cool they look. Fish caterpillars. Alright, if we go for power, we get 2 synthesis. That's not really great. And also, harm potential is super high for them anyway. Growth is okay, resource scarcity is okay, and honestly, the only thing we really need to focus on is this potential casualty thing. Advancement is going to cost us 10 synthesis, so I'm just going to go for wisdom, which is 0, and gets us good things. So, orbital space labs develop tech to allow settlers to expand even further into the cosmos. Alright. I think I'm actually... Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to go to the human trading shrouds. Great War threatens Sol, and they're attacking a Star Destroyer. Excellent. Existential inequality. A substantial minority of the humans have lived their entire lives in a simulation without worry of property or leisure costs. Those in the real world are struggling to exist while simulated citizens accumulate. I don't know why that word was so hard for me to read today. While digital citizens accumulate virtual resources and live in ways that they can only dream of. A real-world crisis is brewing between the digital haves and the corporeal have-nots. What an interesting scenario. That to live in the digital simulation is the 2%, or only the rich can live there. Maybe the only significant difference between a really smart simulation and a human being was the noise they made when you punched them. Okay. So we can sue for peace, but that cost us 40 synthesis. Not really a fan of that. If we do this, we gain synthesis, but we're going to lose... We're going to lose 11.9 billion? Oh god, math. What's the math there? How many billion? So that's going to be most, because that would be most of our 1,000... No, wait, sorry. Look at it, matter deposits, not humans. So that would be, okay, that's not too bad. We'd still be left with just under, what, 6 billion-ish? Something like that. So we could do that. Gain some synthesis. Human growth would go down. Human resources would go down. Human resources are already pretty low. But honestly, I think the only way we're going to be saving them at this point is if we have the synthesis to deal with their extinction event when it comes along, because they're kind of dwindling out here. So let's go for total war. Several trading shrouds are persuaded to enact regulations limiting the simulation dwellers, but are met with military space fortresses commanded by the simulated humans revolting against the obsolete physical beings. What a weird scenario. So instead of, like, we're all so concerned with artificial intelligence becoming a thing and taking over, like in the Terminator, but the idea that we upload ourselves digitally and then use our digital selves to take over, that's bonkers. So we'll go for that. A war between the simulated and real world factions began when trading shrouds tried to place restrictions on simulated living. So now we got 6.2 billion humans left. If we can get the resource scarcity up, we could be okay. We might be okay, we'll see. Potential casualties, I don't want to raise that. A charismatic human test tube Sentinel rises to power in the Sol system. Are we living in a computer simulation? I think we've already answered that question. Why do you need to ask that? You're clearly having a war about it, so duh. In a state-of-the-art microform cluster on Earth, the humans achieve new scientific insights. I guess we'll increase the growth just a little bit, because we are pretty low there. Lower harm potential, increase growth. Let's increase the growth again, because we just lost like 1,000, or we lost 1 billion in just the last bit here. All right, how are the Vekai holding up? Program shift. Oh, paradigm shift in Kepler. Speculative cults. The speculative economic market of the Kepler system is brokered between myriads of hypercomputers using subspace communication. This became so complex that for common Vekai, these interplanetary trading platforms have mystical properties. This development intensifies when new religious cults are listed as at the subspace stock exchanges. Their followers' belief that the will of the gods is inscripted in the fluctuations of the market. Our souls are given to the bond commune. If the stock of our community rises, our souls will go to a better world. Alright. So, we don't want to, I don't want to do cultural ascent. Don't really want to afford that. We already are growing at an exponential rate. Resource scarcity is not too bad. I'm thinking, I mean, we've been going warlike with them this entire time. Why don't we do cultural descent? Harm potential goes up, dystopia goes up. Competition between the most dominant cult and the established regions and economic institutions spark religious conflicts. Soon, Vekai fanatics storm the financial districts of the Kepler system, armed with disruption rifles. Yes. Fly, my pretties, fly. Yeah, we'll lower their growth a little bit. That'll help. Let's lower their potential casualties a little bit. Okay, I think they're gonna be okay. Yeah, they're just kind of hanging out in the background, really, because the whole, all the other societies are just dying out. Oh, the resource scarcity went up. That's okay. That's good. But they've just been consistent. They haven't flown anywhere. They haven't done anything. They're just consistently there. The Odo established a new sector. And now they're getting signals from space. Listener implants. Okay, so they've got the implants too. So they're able to track these otherworldly sounds. They can hit it with enthusiasm. Not really that interested in that, because that costs stuff. We can hit it with hostility. What does hostility sound like? The interplanetary traffic signal is projected directly into the brains, and the strange content leaves a wave of psychotic breakdown. So the same as the Esh. Not as exciting. I'd rather go with ignorance, honestly. Get 7 synthesis for that. A firmware update to the cybernetic implants filters out the signal after the first users complain about it. The message is lost afterwards. And there it goes. Goodbye. Absolutely not. The Odo grow to fear their ruthless director. Let's raise their resources. Oh, the Vekai are getting the signals now. What will they do about it? Subspace Entertainment Channel. A unique Vekai show of the largest subspace entertainment channel regularly pulls fragments from galaxy background noise. We've heard this one before. From background noise, and they try to guess whether it's from space or not. Don't have enough for enthusiasm. Or I do have enough for enthusiasm. Don't want to spend it. I could do hostility, which doesn't get me anything. But it leans into what I'm talking about here. Let's see. To gain viewers, the subspace streamers depict the human aliens as much more gruesome than they are. The interplanetary traffic signal makes every Vekai fearful, and solar dreadnoughts are demanded to combat the alien threat. That sounds right up the Vekai's alley there. So we're gonna go for hostility there. Oh my gosh, are they there? Yes, we finally did it. Somebody got to 100 dystopia. All right. They are completely dystopian. That's awesome. All right, so they're in the superliminal age. They're completely dystopian. It's so crazy. They're in the superliminal age. And like I said, they haven't flown anywhere. They haven't done anything. They've just been existing in the background. It's so crazy. I'm just happy on their planet, really. Hey, polar monkeys. They have reached the flow age. The polar monkeys learn how to break off great ice flows from the mainland, using them to transport large numbers across the oceans of Rigel 7. Meanwhile, science leaps forward with the first rationalists proposing bold new explanations for the world that do not rely on religion. Interesting. You never really know your friends from your enemies until the ice breaks. Inuit proverb. Valid. I like that proverb. So we could pay for wisdom. We can go for advancement, which just gives us all things that are good. Or we could do power. Power's not going to hurt them too badly, but it also doesn't really give us anything. I might as well go for advancement. Exploration and global trade drive dramatic innovation. Ice flow vessels are improved, becoming akin to cities floating across the ocean. I like the sound of that. God, could you imagine that? Societies just like floating on ice, like whole cities, and they just kind of like float around on the ocean currents and then bump into other cities, and then they trade just on happenstance. It'd be crazy. The polar monkeys can now journey to the farthest reaches of Rigel 7 on great floes of ice, building capitals everywhere on the planet. Oh boy, the humans have reached their destination. The human craft swarm made contact with the Damani sage hegemonies. After numerous years of travel, the human craft swarm has finally arrived at its destination, but the Vex System is inhabited by the Damani sage hegemonies. What is going to happen when the humans make contact with the Damani? They could exchange, which would cost me. There could be extermination or observation. So if we do extermination, after first contact, both sides are hostile toward each other, and the human craft swarm decides to attack the Vex System with full force. It's 100% that there will be total destruction of Vexes. Oh, interesting. So even if we choose exchange, the likelihood of aggressive reaction of the Damani would be 97%. So that would be how likely they are to still have aggression. But granted, they're almost at full dystopia, so that makes sense. So I think we're going to go for observation and see where that takes us. The human craft swarm observes the Damani sage hegemonies from a safe distance, determining if the Damani are a threat. 70% chance of negative reaction. Let's find out what happens. The Vex System is under attack by the human craft swarm. So, I guess the observation didn't go well. The commanders of the human craft swarm decide after long observation that they should try to conquer the Vex System, even if they have to expel or destroy the native Damani. Void Marines do not determine who is right, only who is left. Okay. Banishment, regular invasion, maximal attack. Maximal. It sounds like Beast Wars here. Alright, banishment. The Damani Sage hegemonies do not stand a chance against the invaders. The entire population are allowed to flee the Vex System in a refugee fleet. That's interesting. kicking the Damani out. Ooh. I like the sound of that. Regular invasion. The winner of the battle for the Vex System will be the faction with the best technology and strongest military power. So the Damani are probably going to win that. Yeah, because they've still got the best. And the human craft swarm will be destroyed. Or maximal attack, which means that they're both going to die. I'm gonna go with banishment. That sounds so cool, and we'll see where they end up flying to. Watch, they're gonna fly to Earth. This will be the next thing. They're just gonna, fine, we will take ourselves and we will go to your planet and bust it up. All right, so banishment. The Damani stage hegemonies escape in a refugee fleet. Where are you going? Oh, they're going to the right, not to the left. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on, go back. So, okay, Vexus is... I thought I was looking at the ships. There we go. Oh, look at you guys. God, you got all spiffied up, didn't you? But look at how many ships you guys have. There's so many. So where are you going? You're going to the Gliese System, which is where the Odo are, right? No, that's Tau Ceti. Where's Gliese? Is that here? Oh my gosh, how are they getting all the way up there? Right? This is Kepler 4, home of the Vex quadrants. Unless this is Gliese. It just says Tau Ceti 3. But these are the Gelisarian multitudes. That's like Gliese. I don't know. Not really sure, actually. It's Dog Star. It looks like they're aimed over here, but it could just be the way that the image is situated on the screen here. Alright. The Damani refugee fleet begins its escape from Vex to the Gliese System. Damani injustice. You went from bad to worse, you guys. Fleet antagonism. During the endless escape of the Damani refugee fleet, the crew of the individual ships each start to take on their own identity and culture. Over time, they begin to look on other ships with suspicion, feeling that such outsiders are inferior and not to be trusted. Distance can breed suspicion, and it can make enemies hardly worthy of consideration as human beings. Much easier to consider killing. Ooh, Chasm City by Alistair Reynolds. So what are you guys gonna do? We gotta prevent it, which we get synthesis from, so that sounds pretty great. Or we can do massive injustice to pay for it. I think we're go with prevention. The officers of the refugee fleet actively work together to fight these biases. Within a generation, they successfully unite the Damani of all ships. So within a generation, they successfully eradicate racism. Wow. Or, we call it racism on Earth, even though if you think about race in this situation, each alien species is a race. But, you know. Semantics. Tomatoes at this point. Let's go ahead and do that. Several Damani refugee fleet officers are removed from their posts. Let's go ahead and make sure their resources are good, because they're going to go down in 9 years. That's not good. This will be fun. Dystopia. Let's grab the extra dystopia, more synthesis. Internal crew conflicts causes unrest and hopelessness among the Damani refugee fleet crew. Centuries of isolation cause strong cultural biases and tribalism to emerge among the ships of the Damani refugee fleet. This largely changed when a program of cultural exchange and personal swaps was mandated. Resources. Doing okay. Hypercomputers simulate efficiency protocols for the Damani refugee fleet crew. And they're removed from their posts. The leaders are, at least. Human colony. The humans reach the superliminal age. So this is the ones who landed on Vex, then. Okay. Yeah, they're just making themselves at home. Gosh. Alright, we could go for wisdom. Or we can go for power, we can go for advancement. What do we want? We don't have any growth. The resource scarcity is 162 years. Why don't we go for advancement? The colonists manipulate the weather, life forms, and terrain of Vexus to create a paradise for themselves. As they tame the once hostile planet, they name themselves the Travelers to remember their long journey here. That is true. They did land on 2 different planets. I thought they called themselves the Travelers, not the Settlers. Whatever. A new technological era dawns. Inspired by their early colonists, the inhabitants of the Vex System call themselves the Settlers from now on. They changed their mind. Okay. Knowledge in Sirius. The Gilisarians implement digital computing devices into their brains. Fun. These systems can run programs to assist the mental capabilities of the user, store data, and shut down unwanted brain functions. Do not fall for the hype of the new Cortex Booster series. If you do not get premium, the suits from Brain Mash will sell your brain data to the highest bidder. And don't worry about the cerebral backdoor I just found. I mean, what could go wrong? Okay. I don't want to pay for that. Oh, dead end. We get 17 synthesis from that. Brain chips could be misused to manipulate their hosts, so Gilisarian leaders outlaw the technology except for medical applications. Like marijuana. Alright. Let's see here. Question mark. This, because every once in a while I like to do something crazy. Cyberneticist manipulates data in the Sirius System. In an encounter with a neuro-enhanced species, we would have few defenses. Let's increase the ethical values. New design principles inspire the Gilisarians to modernize the appearance and function of everyday objects. They've now reached the Solar Age. Overcoming previous limits of propulsion and engineering, they are now able to travel amongst their own solar system. Look at their beautiful outfits. Love it. So, if we do power, harm potential is going to go up. Dystopia is going to go up. But we gain 7 synthesis. If we do advancement, we have to pay for it. And that's, I mean, resource scarcity is kind of part of it. But honestly, we need to lower the growth. I think that'll help a lot of that. We can do wisdom. Let's do power. Let's just go for it. A fleet of city-sized battleships patrol the Sirius System to ensure that colonies remain loyal to the government on Dog Star. You must follow our lead. We are the guiders of the Dog Star. You will obey our commands. The Gilisarian zones are in command. Solar Age technology allows the Gilisarians to harvest resources from asteroids and faraway planets in the Sirius System. Let's see here. We've got... we can do tech, we could do ethical. I think we're fine with both. Let's just take the regular synthesis. Come on, I'm looking for resources. Actually, I'm looking for our growth to be lowered. That's what I have on my wish list right now. Let's take a little hit to their tech. We'll gain some synthesis from that. Oh no. As we predicted, a resource crisis in the Damani refugee fleet. Resource storage are becoming... Oh, we got a little bug here. Resource storage is becoming scarce aboard the Damani refugee fleet. The effects of the antimatter reactor depletion brought the crew to a breaking point. While they are dealing with the resource scarcity, will the Sage Captain find a way to prevent the complete exhaustion of the ship's resources, or will this end in mutiny and violence? An empty storage module is the most horrifying occurrence on a spaceship that is traveling to a distant star at sub-light speed. Yeah, it means that you're going to have one less module of resources. Okay, we can go to war, which would lower their growth, but also lower the resources. We could have crisis or precaution. Alright, what are our odds here? With precaution, we have a 98% chance for decline. That's led by our dystopia there. And with crisis, we have a 100% chance of hostilities. Interesting. So, we could go to war, but we gain a 7 synthesis. We would lose colonists, which is a good thing, ironically, in this situation, because then there'll be more resources to go around. We'll lose 9.5 billion, which is a little bit compared to what we have. So why don't we go for war? The crew pick up their disruption rifles and fight over access to the remaining resource storage. Exosuit soldiers blow up entire living quarters of the ship in the so-called resource mutiny. Eesh. Okay. And I think we'll go for more resources. And regular synthesis. Vulcan alliances. Reduction in Gliese. Plastic plants. The mass scientists of Vulcans develop new plants that produce natural polymer capable of replacing the synthetic materials used in the Gliese system. Life is plastic. It's fantastic. That's awesome. I know that there's a company that's producing a fungus that can actually grow into the shapes needed for replacing like styrofoam in like those styrofoam molds for like TVs and other electronics or whatever that you get in the boxes. So they have a mold, not a mold, sorry, not a mold, like a fungus that can grow into those things. Completely natural. So that would be really cool if this was a thing that was real. Resource scarcity, they have no problem with that. We might as well take the resources and the extra 2 synthesis. The use of natural polymer reduces the need for other minerals, but the new plants also invade the traditional nature of Gliese and destroy local fauna. Ugh, invasive species. Don't like that as much. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and take a break there as the Damani refugee fleet is fleeing across the galaxy as the humans are getting settled and as the Vulcans are starting their new age of enlightenment. If you like this series and want to see more of what's coming on the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell icon to be notified of new videos, like this video so it shows up in the YouTube algorithms, and as always folks, I will see you in the next game.